Hey guys, if you are new, welcome. I upload every Tuesday and Friday now, unless something happens where I'm just too busy, like last week where I thought I would have time, but I just did not. I'm currently working temporarily for a family that lives like 40 minutes away from me, and so I thought I would have time to come home and record, but I didn't, and yeah, I just did not have time. I didn't even have time to edit after work, so anyway, I'm sorry I didn't put up a video on Friday. I also apologize for my hair. It is looking kind of crazy. I am trying something new. I really want to be able to get my natural like waves and curls a little more defined, so I'm using some new hair products, and right now it's just wet. I didn't want to wait for it to completely dry to film because today I'm going to be doing a first impressions wear test on the Too Faced Peach Perfect foundation from their Peaches and Cream line that they just came out with. I actually really want the eyeshadow palette from the Peaches and Cream line because it's all matte and I love all mattes. My all-time holy grail eyeshadow palette is the Stila Eyes to the something, I don't know. It's the all matte palette from the Stila line and I love it. So anyway, if you are interested in finding out how this foundation works on my skin, then just keep watching. So I am in the shade Warm Beige, and this is a neutral undertone. I am neutral undertoned. I actually swatched it yesterday on my hand just to like see how it feels and stuff, and it's still on there. Even though I've washed my hands and all that stuff, it's still like right there. I don't know if you can really see it, but anyway, I'm going to put a primer on one side of my face and then leave the other side of my face without any primer because I know some of you don't like primer or don't use primer. So I'm just going to use half with primer, half not, just to see if you really do need primer for this foundation or not. For those of you wondering, it seems like I'm becoming drier and drier as I'm getting older. I used to be very oily. Now I'm not so much. My skin type is normal. I do get a little bit oily in the T-zone, but not nearly as bad as I used to. So if you have normal to oily skin, this might help you decide if you want this foundation or not. I know everyone is raving about the Fenty foundation right now, and I actually went to Sephora to go pick that up and they didn't have my shade in stores. I also wanted to test out which color I would be. So since they didn't have it in stores, I decided to get this foundation, and I actually asked on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram which one you guys wanted me to test first, the Fenty or this Peach Perfect foundation. Oh no! So as I was talking to you guys, I realized that I was putting the primer on my whole face, but then I just washed off this side of my face and left the primer on this side of my face, so now this side is a blank canvas again. But anyway, like I was saying, I was trying to figure out which Fenty foundation shade to get, and since they didn't have it, I decided I was just going to pick this up and order the Fenty one online. So I'm just gonna have to wait for that to come in the mail. I do like this packaging. It's like got the ombre white to pink, and it's got a cute little gold cap. This says it is oil-free, 14-hour wear, oil controlling, and photo-friendly, which I'm assuming means that there won't be any flashback. It is also infused with peach and sweet fig cream, so I'm assuming that there will be fragrance, which you should all keep in mind if you don't like fragrance stuff. And then it has a pump, which is really nice. So I'm gonna do a couple of pumps on here. So I have you guys zoomed in so that you can like really see the difference. I am going to use beauty sponge to apply this because that's what I always use. I don't normally use a brush to apply foundation. I feel like it always gets really streaky. So I'm gonna put it on the primed side first. I also noticed when I applied it to my hand at the store that it darkened as it dried, which would be oxidizing. So I really hope it doesn't actually oxidize on my face, but we'll see. The smell isn't actually too bad. I don't really smell much of anything. Alright, so that is the primed side. This says that it's supposed to be like a velvety matte. I don't feel like it's like super matte because it still kind of looks like my skin, like there's a little bit of dewiness to it. So that's really nice. I don't like things that look like powdery and cakey. Now for the unprimed side of my face. This is the consistency. As you can see, it is running down my hand a little bit. It is running down my hand a little bit. See, there it goes. But it's still pretty thick. I wouldn't say that this is full coverage. I don't think it claims to be full coverage either. This is definitely more like medium coverage. It has a little tiny bit of scent, but really, I was really expecting it to be a lot stronger. Not that bad. This is definitely more like a medium coverage. So there's the foundation all over my face. It has a little bit of tack to it. Even this side that's dried down more than this side has a little bit more tack. So I'm definitely gonna set this. Some people I saw though didn't feel the need to set it, so I set my face all the time. I can't not. Let's see if there's a transfer at all. So this is all clean and I'm going to just press. There doesn't seem to be any transfer. Those of you who don't want to put on powder, I guess you don't really have to. There's not much transfer going on. So that's pretty cool, but I definitely want to set it. So I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. Okay, so to set my face, I used the RCMA No Color Powder. That way I can really see if this is photo friendly or not. It says it's photo friendly, and this has obviously no color, so there won't be any flashback or anything. And yeah, I will update you. I'm gonna go run some errands. So there it is on my face. It looks really natural. I wouldn't call it super matte. I think maybe the fact that it's oil controlling makes it more matte, quote unquote, but I think the finish is more like a natural satin finish, which I really, really like because I don't want to look like life has sucked out of me from being too dry. That is how it looks, and I think the color is a pretty good color as well. This definitely has a very natural feel to it. Like even on my face, it doesn't feel like I have a ton of foundation on or anything like that. It did still have some tack. I don't think I would put any powder products like blush and bronzer and highlight without powdering my whole face, just because it did have a little bit of tackiness to it. Like when I was doing my brows, I hadn't set my face yet and it transferred a little bit, and like I got a little bit up here and it was harder to kind of wipe away. Yeah, I don't think I would go without using a powder. I just really would much rather have powder over any foundation, unless obviously it's a powder foundation. So anyway, like I said, I am going to wear this throughout the day. I will update you in a little bit. It is currently 10:57. Okay, so it hasn't been very long. It's only been like 20 or 30 minutes, but I wanted to show you that it did darken up a little bit, like not a ton, but it definitely has darkened some. I also forgot to mention that it went on the same on both sides, even though this side has primer and this side does not have primer. I don't know, it kind of doesn't look like this foundation needs the primer. It's kind of nice. Okay, so this is in sunlight. Like it has oxidized just a tiny bit, but it's okay. It's not that bad. I really like this so far. All right, so it is now like 3 o'clock or almost 3 o'clock, and here is my update. Side with no primer, side with primer. Honestly, they both look exactly the same on both sides. So I'm thinking you might not need a primer with this. Like I said, this is a matte foundation and it's definitely staying matte, and it definitely looks still pretty natural, like skin-like. If you wear glasses, you're gonna get a little bit of transfer on your glasses, like that little nose pad situation going on. I wore sunglasses and it's kind of taken off a little bit on either side of my nose, but nothing all that bad, and it's still holding up pretty well on my normal skin. So if you have oily skin, like my nose is a little bit oily today, is kind of having like a little bit of foundation rub away, but not a lot at all. It still looks pretty good. Hey guys, so it is now 10 o'clock, 10:05. And let me take off these glasses. So this is my last update for the night. I am so ready to take off this makeup because I hate wearing foundation for more than like 8 hours, and it has now been almost 12 hours, not quite 12 hours yet, but I need to get to bed soon and I'm gonna wake up early in the morning. So last updates of this foundation and my final thoughts. It's still really matte. I feel like it's the same matte feeling as when I put it on. Honestly, it looks the same too. My highlight is still there. A little less on this side, but it's still there on this side. My bronzer and my blush is still there. It did not cling to any of the dry patches that I have. So right around here I have a couple of like dried up zits or whatever they were. It didn't cling to the dry patches in a weird way or anything like that. Here is a little scab and it just kind of went right over it. It looks pretty good still, even after 12 hours. My nose is the only part that has a little less foundation. I did rub my nose quite a bit right here because it, for whatever reason, this nostril itched like crazy today. Then for my glasses, I have little glasses pad marks from the transfer of the foundation onto my sunglasses and onto my normal vision glasses. Do I think there needs to be a primer for this? I don't think you have to wear a primer with this foundation. I don't see any like patchiness going on my chin or up top or anything like that. I don't know, maybe you guys might see it better. Usually right around this area is where I get patchy, and I don't feel like I'm that patchy at all. This foundation held up really, really well. I don't have any creasing going on either. I'm really impressed. I feel like it honestly looks exactly like when I put it on both sides. Those are my thoughts. I think this is great for anyone with normal skin or oily skin because this definitely stayed matte. More matte than other foundations that I've worn that claim to be matte but aren't necessarily matte. So thumbs up for this foundation. It is really awesome. I would say this is gonna be one of my top favorite foundations now because of how it wasn't necessarily matte either. It was like a satin matte. Anyway, that completes this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already and ding that bell, that way you are notified for future videos. Bye guys!